Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am here on the late night to do a couple of things. The first one being my review of Married at First Sight, Season 12 Reunion Special. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much for joining the family. To all of my nieces and nephews who have been here with me for the long haul, thank you all so much for your continued support. If I had to rate the reunion special last night, I probably would rate it a D. I thought that it was boring, but we're going to go ahead on and catch up on it, right? So let's go. Um, so the first couple that I want to talk about on the reunion show was Virginia and Eric. As we all know, the two of them chose to stay together, and they are still happy and together. And so, it wasn't to me, wasn't anything that was standoutish about the two of them. They said that they still have like a rocky relationship, but that they love each other and they're working to do that. They brought his mother on, and his mother talked about what a sweet girl she really was. And so, wait a minute. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Okay. Wow, I forget my mic. I do that every broadcast, so I'm hoping that you all heard me. Right. I'm hoping that you all heard me. So anyway, somebody said Tracy Chappelle said she rates it a C. Okay. Okay, that's fair. I rated it a D. Um, oh, y'all can hear me? Okay, good. But anyway, so his mom said that she was a sweet girl and stuff like that. And they talked about that she's living in a condo. She said that she has a room in the condo, and she showed the room. He is allergic to the cats. He's been fake sneezing. What else happened significant or insignificant with them? I can't even think of anything else that really stood out to me about this particular couple. It's just the same old, same old, same old. The next couple that I want to talk about is Brianna and Vincent. The two of them are still together. And I must say that they look very nice together. They seem to be like really, really happy, and it seems to be genuine. I think a lot of times when we see different things on the show, it's made out for us to believe that their relationship is a certain way. But one thing that I liked about it was that Vincent actually took responsibility for his insecurities, for him being embarrassed. He was saying that, really, this woman helped him, and he didn't place any blame on her, whether or not she was controlling or bossy or whatever. He took accountability and said that, he thinks about and he cares about what people think about him and what people say about him. And she was saying that, she's actually, different than that. And she doesn't care about what people say about her. The two of them, are thinking about purchasing a home. They were asked whether or not whether Vincent was going to take her back to the DR, and he said yes. And they're also going to purchase a property out there. So they just seem to be really happy. The bossiness, she said that she has learned how to compromise in this relationship with him. And so I thought that that was good of her to say. Just a lot of give and take when you in a relationship with somebody, period, right? Like, that's the truth. Thank you so much, Beverly Conley, for the 9.99. Okay, let me put my glasses on and stop squinting. Auntie, don't squint, just look. Thank you, Beverly Conley, for the 9.99 super chat. super sticker. Thank you, boo. Thank you. So they all right. I mean, the two of them all right. Happy ending, happy blending, right? They matched them up good. The next couple that I want to talk about is Haley. Bitch, Haley showed up by herself. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't know whether or not production even liked our boy, right? Jacob, because the stuff that they had her say about him. So, she, was talking about because of course she came by herself. Because she was by herself, they had her with the girls, okay? So she wouldn't be sitting by herself. And so, she was a little bold and cocky about the stuff that she was saying about him. And I thought that it was just really it was just really tasteless, right? I thought it was done. Let me say that differently. I thought it was done in poor taste. I didn't like it at all. It's one thing for us to joke around, but it's another thing for her. She said that she was trying to put her all in it, and she was trying to find something to be attractive to him, right? And so she said that. So they said, well, she said, well, I slept with him. I was drinking. I slept with them. And then, things just changed. There was nothing that we could unite on. So, basically the host was, asking her, do you mean that the sex was bad? And so basically she said, yeah, the sex was bad. And I figured that something was going on, that, Jacob had all the muscles, but he really didn't have no motion in the ocean, no ocean in the motion. Like he was a fail in the bed. She was like, I was trying to connect to him some kind of way. I thought that would happen. I was good and drunk. And she was like, he just won't good. And I just was like, wow, like really, like she's coming out with it, right? She didn't say it quite like Auntie, because don't nobody say it like Auntie. But basically, that's what she was leading people to believe. She said that Jacob, that she was asked, she was asked whether or not her and Jacob have talked since the show, and she indicated that they hadn't because he blocked her off of all social media platforms. And he should have. The thing about it was she thought that a lot of it was funny. And I think that she was laughing really out of embarrassment, out of a sense of failure, with this not working between the two of them. I think that, she's hiding a lot of her emotions and stuff like that, and not really, being true and real, that she's probably really hurt about this. And I'm hoping that when he comes out that he, handles it a little differently, that he doesn't drag her and make it seem like, because it could have been her. You know what I'm saying? It takes two to tangle, boo. So if he didn't know something, you could have taught the mofo what it was that you thought that he didn't know. If that was the case. Now, if it was because he really didn't have, you know what I'm saying? Then, I mean, ain't nothing you could do to change that situation. But still, I thought it was just, was done in poor taste, even with the way that they was asking her the questions and stuff like that. And like I said, Haley thought that it was just so funny, and I just didn't see really the humor in it, because I think that she needs to be real. I think that she's getting a bad at it. I don't think that she understands that she's getting a bad at it. And I'm sure that she's getting backlash in her DMs and on her social media and stuff like that for coming off like that. The next couple I want to talk about is Claire and Ryan. Claire and Ryan look very well. He has a new mustache. And she don't really like it, but wasn't nothing she could do about it. Because Ryan is who Ryan is. The two of them, were talking about, being perfectly matched and all that kind of stuff. And she was absolutely glowing. So, just from the glow that was on her face, I could tell that she got her some. She straight up got her some. Okay. And so they asked Ryan, about the love word and whether or not, he had said that to Claire, and he said no. And so the host asked him flat out, "Do you love her?" And he looked at her and he said, "I think I do. I do. I love you." And Claire was just grinning and beaming all over the place. And I absolutely loved to see her finally happen. They asked them whether or not they had consummated the marriage, and they were like, did we not? Kind of laughing about it. And he said, "Well, I can take that as a yes." And I think that I took it as a yes too. I absolutely believe that the two of them have indeed consummated their marriage, and good on them. Good on them. And now the girls got together and they were talking about their friendship and their relationship, and they were kind of praising Paige for Paige being strong throughout, the whole entire process with her and Chris. And Virginia was like, she's a better woman than me. I would have handled that totally differently. And Paige was sitting there, taking all the accolades and stuff like that. But Paige has to realize that she has played a part in this relationship and the demise of the relationship. I just, I hate to be on Paige like that, y'all. Like, I really, really do. But she has to take responsibility for what has happened in the relationship and what we saw, because only people gonna only treat you the way that you allow them to treat you, and what you give them permission to do. And Paige gave Chris permission to mistreat her, not one time, but over and over, and cotton freaking over and over again. So eventually we see Chris and Paige get together. They coming in, they dapper down. I don't know why Paige overdresses for situations. The dress she had on looked like she was going to like a prom or something, or some formal event. Chris came in, of course, with a blue suit on. He had his hair cleaned up. This was the first time to me that Chris looked like he wasn't stinking, right? So anyway, the two of them come up in that camp and everything, and here comes the question. So they asked them, about where they are right now, and Chris is doing most of the talking. He indicated that the two of them, after the show, decided that they were going to try to reconcile the relationship. And as a result of that they had started going to counseling together with one another. Excuse me, y'all, 1 second. Thank you, Tanya Lewis, for the $4.99 super chat. Please do your impression of Paige. Okay, maybe. Thank you, Boo, for the super chat. So, so Chris said that the two of them had started going to counseling, and that they were, really trying to work it out. And so Paige was like, so he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I understand that the two of you all were going to move in together." So not only did Paige consider still staying in this relationship, right? But she also considered living with this mofo. Like, you can't save somebody that just doesn't want to be saved. And Paige didn't want to be saved from this relationship, despite what we saw in the season finale of the damn thing, with her running out and saying she couldn't stay married. As I told you all, allegedly one of the friends had already said that the two of them were still together. So that pans out, right? That was the truth. And so, she says, well, it didn't work out with us because we're just two different people. And I don't believe that they're two different people. I don't believe that Paige is any different than him, because at this point, birds of a feather flock together. So they asked the question, to Chris about, having the Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, lovely Longy. Thank you, lovely Longy, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate you. Love you. So, so they go on and, in this conversation, they begin to ask, Chris the hard questions. You could tell by the way that the guy was talking that he was not Team Chris. And I think that, he handled this particular couple, in my opinion, differently than he handled any of the other couples. The line of questioning, the energy, everything was just off to me. And I was like, they really want Chris, in my opinion, to look worse than he did. And it's almost like like a sneak attack. And we're going to talk about that later on in another video. But anyway, so, they asked them about the sex and asked Paige why she had continued to sleep with him, through the relationship. And so Chris was like, don't answer it. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. So he didn't want to talk about anything, right? And so they, we feel like we don't want to talk about that. So they didn't talk about that. They asked him about, a Mercedes. And, he said, you brought Mercedes a Mercedes. And so they was like, how did you feel about that, Paige? And she was like, I felt stupid, and I felt like it was too much, like I'm a dummy, I'm a doormat, and all that kind of stuff. And so, Chris said, well, a car is a car. But mofo, that's not what you said to Paige. When you bought that car from Mercedes, you indicated that she needed to be in a Chariot and that she needed to have the top of the line. So evidently a car isn't cutting freaking a car. Okay, a car is more than a car. Okay, especially with a Mercedes and what they can do, right? It ain't like the car that I'm driving out there that I got sitting up in my driveway. But I mean, it's neither here nor there at this point. But you didn't feel that way then. And so now all of a sudden you want to kick it down to a car. It's just a car. They tried to, ask Paige about the question about the pregnancy and all of that. Chris and Paige were on the same page because they both were unwilling to discuss things. They had already came in there and made a decision about what it was that they were going to discuss and what they weren't. But what Paige didn't know is that they ran a clip back to her that she did not see, because when they filmed the reunion, they filmed it before they released the footage. They then show Paige the conversation between Chris and Dr. Cal, where Chris indicated that he wasn't attracted to her face. Her whole cotton freaking face dropped down. See, she was trying to, save face and trying to make herself feel better by indicating that she was willing to be back with Chris because she felt like the baby is what Chris had a problem with, forgetting all about all the times that he told her that how unattracted he was to her. But now this video clip that they made her watch was him having a conversation with Dr. Cal, and he was indicating, out of all the women in Atlanta that you could have picked for me, all the black queens, the Latino queens, you picked this chick that's she on the scale of beauty. And so, of course, Paige is seeing this, for the first time, and now her whole face cracked. And in a way I felt sorry for it, in a way I didn't, because this man articulated whether it was rude, whether or not it was right, whether it was wrong, whether or not it was this man communicated his truths to her. Yeah, he was foul in doing it. He was foul in doing it. He was a foul mofo. But he articulated as best he could his truths at that time. Chris wanted out of that relationship with what he thought was an ugly woman. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he was still in the relationship with cotton freaking Mercedes the whole time. There's a young woman on YouTube that shows the timeline of when he got engaged, when he signed up for the show, all of that. Do I believe that Chris did this show in order to get fame? Absolutely, I do. I do not believe that he had the right and the best intentions on doing this show. I just don't. It's just, to me, it's just plenty obvious that he didn't. So anyway, they're sitting there and they're not willing to talk about anything. The both of them have made an agreement that they're going to talk about the bare minimum. We're past that, so we're not going to talk about it until they brought out the cotton freaking Bishop Dwight, Pastor Dwight. Now, Pastor Dwight brings his tail out there. Paige looks at Chris all shocked, and Chris is like stunned. So Pastor Dwight comes out there, and they begin to ask Pastor Dwight, about his relationship with Chris, and had he talked to Chris, and he said he did not talk to Chris because Chris would not take his sound counsel, and so he backed up off of him. He said that Chris has a problem with being corrected. And Chris went the hell off. It was like, what the do you mean being corrected? Chris indicated before Pastor Dwight even got to all of that bull crap, right? Because we're going to talk about Pastor Dwight too. I think Pastor Dwight is a clout chaser. I don't think he had the best intentions towards Chris, period. Sure don't. I sure don't. I honestly don't think he did. It is obvious that they blindsided him by having that man out there. And, he didn't come out there to do any good, in my opinion. The two, Chris came off and said that, he felt like the issue with Dwight, Pastor Dwight, was that he should have talked to him prior to him talking to his wife. As a man of the cloth, as a pastor, and as a friend. But this guy, according to Chris, ain't even his pastor. So when he was saying that, he was there to mentor Chris, Chris was like, you wasn't there to mentor us. Now, if you go back to the very beginning, Pastor Dwight was one of Chris's best men. He won't coming up in there representing no pastor. He was a friend. But he got himself, he put himself in the middle of this. And now here it is, they sitting down on the sofa with Paige and with Chris, and Pastor Dwight got her in the middle. And then, they're going back and forth because Chris is like, Chris was dropping 100. Now I can cuss, but Chris out cussed me any day with his saved, sanctified, born again self, fire baptized self, with his Jesus loving self. I said it. No offense to all those Jesus lovers, because I'm one too. But this mofo dropped so many cotton freaking F-bombs till it was unfreaking believable. They are going back and forth. Dwight ain't got up out of his chair. And Paige is sitting in the middle. And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And so, Chris is like, you don't know me like that. You ain't no pastor. You ain't my pastor. Whoop. You ain't no mentor to me. You wasn't nothing but a friend. So they going back and forth. And so Pastor Dwight was like, what you not going to do is disrespect me. Chris was like, what you not going to do is disrespect me. But again, I really do believe that production set this up to have this man pop off like this. They knew, in my opinion, that Chris was going to pop off, bringing Pastor Dwight out there. They knew he was going to Kirk off. And that's what they wanted. the host is going to sit there and say, Chris, we was having this wonderful discussion, because they had asked Chris, what would he say to the family? Does he believe that he, owe the family an apology? And he gave the family an apology. He said that, through therapy, he realized that he was too immature to be in a relationship with a woman of Paige's caliber. I don't think so. I just think that you were not matched good. I think that what you were looking for when you sat down with them, you should have told them what kind of woman you wanted. I don't think that Chris liked dark-skinned women. That's just my opinion. And that very well may not be true. Maybe we can go to social media and find him with a couple of two. I don't think you could, but I think that, he, excuse me, y'all. Let me just fix this once and for all. Okay. When I get up here, it gets to getting on my nerve, right? But I don't be wanting to look all crazy either. I don't think that he likes dark-skinned women. And you know what? If that's his preference, that's his preference. And when they brought him, when he said, I don't care what I get, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that. He meant something else. And it just was so obvious that, it just was he looked at her and he said, the only thing that I can do with her is have sex with her. And that's sad, because a lot of men do that. But Pastor Dwight brought the fire and tried to play innocent, like he didn't know what was going on. And I wasn't with it. I'm going to come back in a few minutes after this, and we're going to look at a video, right, of Chris. And my whole thing is, when the host of the show, the guys got heated. The host of the show told Paige to get involved. He told Paige to break it up. You don't put a woman in the firing squad like that. You don't make that a woman's job to stand up between two grown-ass men and break a fight up. That's not what you do to a woman. I thought that was so cruddy of the hoes. And I know he kept saying, Chris, relax. And Chris was like, I'm going to relax for you. But then, the pastor was just going on and on and on. So Chris kept popping off. But for him to say, Paige, get in there, do something, Paige, skip it. No. Totally inappropriate. And I'm hoping that he issues an apology. Somewhere in print, social media, somewhere that he issues an apology to Paige, because that was so unfair. Paige standing up there with the big old butt all up in the pastor's face and everything. And, and she's trying to calm Chris down. That's not her. That's not a woman's job. She was already uncomfortable even being between both of them. She was very uncomfortable. And why would you do that? You should have had production pull her out to safety and let these two bulls go head to head. Chris was like, Chris walks off, which was the smart thing for Chris to do. He walks off and he offers and passes up and told him, if you got a problem with it, meet me out in the parking lot. Meet me in the parking lot. And I just, Chris is not a good person. I've said that from the first time he showed us his ass. But two wrongs freaking don't make a right either. And Paige is in cahoots with him. And so it's very hard for me to be 100% sympathetic to her. Somebody was saying, the other day that, I victim shame. And I don't believe I do. I just believe I'm a realist and I see things the way that I see things, and you may see things the way that you see things. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to say that she was treated poorly, Because when I talk about Chris, that's what I talk about. Chris treated her poorly. But at the same time, if the dog bites you one time and you go back and the dog bites you again, it's not the dog's fault. That's just how I see it. And as many of you all know, I've shared my story before. I have been in a situation like that. And as long as I stayed in that situation, that was on me. People tried to warn me. People tried to tell me that, you know what I'm saying? But I was in it to win it. Disregarded all the red signs and all of the people who were trying to give me wisdom at the time, because I wanted what I wanted at the time that I wanted it, and wasn't anybody going to say or do anything to make me not want it, even though there were so many things that were red signs. And I never blamed him for making me stay, because I was fully aware of what was going on in the relationship. Some things I didn't know, right? But some things I did, and you're accountable for what you know, not for what you don't know. Because, you know, there's a saying that says, once you know better, you do better. And so to stay in a relationship like that, in a relationship that is abusive, you know, we tend to want to, and I understand that mindset, right? I do understand the mindset of saying, you know, this person is a bad person. And they are. They're bad people. They're manipulative. They're narcissists. They're all of that kind of stuff. But you have to take responsibility for your stuff in it. And that is how I was able to heal. That is how I was able to walk away from the situation, because there had to be a reality check for me. There had to be, I had to check me. And I had to look at, why are you going through this? You're going through this because this is where I had no excuse to stay there other than I wanted to stay. And I wanted to be blind or act like I was. Because you got something you feel like maybe you want to prove, or, you know, all the naysayers, you want to be like, nah. You know, you got that rescue mentality. I got to rescue this person. I've got to, you know, redeem this person. I've got to prove that this is a valid and a good relationship. You know when it's not. And once you get out, you got to stay out. Because when you go back, what are you really saying here? What are you really saying? You gotta take responsibility for your stuff and your actions in that situation. You cannot continue to make it about the other person without looking internally and looking at yourself, because that is where your safety is. That's where your tenacity and audacity to leave the situation is. All of that is in you fixing you, because that is the only person you can fix is you. You gotta fix you. And yes, bad things happen to good people. But you can't stay there and then look and say, well, you know, he was bad to me or she was bad to me. Because a lot of men go through it too. It's not just something that is just something that women go through. You got to get out. And Paige is steady being sucked back in and sucked back in and sucked back in, because it's something that she wants out of this. And then even to sit there and watch him manipulate her into not answering questions. Fuck that. What else you want to know? Still controlled and still, sitting there looking stupid. And then want us not to say or tell the truth. Not to have a different opinion. And it's okay to have a different opinion. Because I have a different opinion about it. And I'm not afraid to say what that different opinion is. I'm not afraid to go against the stream. I'm not afraid to tell my truth, whether you like it or not. I speak for those people who can look beyond what you see on that television, that bad person that you see. I will never take away the fact that Chris is a complete and total asshole. But Paige has to take responsibility for her role in it. Because she has had every out that you could possibly give a human being. And each time she chooses not to take the out. Every time. I wouldn't be surprised if the girl with him now. She talk about how she never saw the paperwork for the Mercedes. Did you ask for it? Did you ask for it? If you didn't ask for it, you can't be mad. You were willing to stay with a man who brought another woman a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 car. You stayed and went to counseling. Who does that? And I'm not supposed to sit up here and tell my truth or how I feel about it, my opinion. I'm supposed to just be like, oh my God. Somebody told me in the comment section, you just got to be with the woman and you got to support the woman, even if the woman is wrong. I tell you what you need to do, boo. You need to unsubscribe. Because I'm never going to sit up there and turn a blind eye to someone else not taking responsibility and ownership for their role in the relationship. It takes two people. So if you want Auntie to sit here and just roll with her because she's a woman, and you think because I don't roll with her that I am not trying to support women, you're wrong. You cannot look a person in their face and tell them that they doing the right thing and think that you helping them when you know they doing wrong. So sis, to you know who you are. You should unsubscribe. You should hit that button quickly and exit stage left. Because that ain't here. Paige even said that she has a tendency and that in this relationship, she wasn't even doing herself first. She said that she has a problem. Okay? A history of not taking care of herself first. But you want me to sit and turn about. You want me to Stevie Wonder this joint? You want me to Ray Charles it? Yeah, Paige. Yeah, girl, you right and he wrong. You done lost your mind. Should Paige have been treated like that? Absolutely not. Nobody deserves to be treated like that. Nobody. But let me tell you something, honey. I'm going to leave it just like that. Anyway, y'all, that is my review of Married at First Sight. You know, it was all, you know, happy, and then it just got real dark up on that joint. So they're having a reunion part 2. We'll look at that. Chris indicated that he is not in the reunion part 2. He's, you know, he did not play an active role in that. He went on a rant and he said some things, and I'm going to come back. We're going to look at some of his rant together, and we're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk about it. What you saying, sweetie? Many black women are like Paige. Well, let's just say women, period. Waiting around for a man to change his heart just because you crack your legs open. Trust and believe it's a lost cause. I can't stand for all these broken people keep signing up to marry a stranger and then lose the rest of their minds. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. That is my review of Married at First Sight. Y'all stick around. I know it's late, but stick around, or even just come and look at the replay if you can't stick around tonight. I'm going to show you all a rant that Chris went on, and we're going to talk about some things, right? We're going to talk about it. Love you all. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Thank you to all of my members who are here tonight. Thank you so much to my moderator who is actually moderating while she's on vacation. Love you all to pieces. Bye, y'all.